Yo,
How you doing, AkHi? Who this is and where you calling from?
yeah, this Big Joe. I'm from Arizona.
Arizona.
What's-
Arizona in
what's
the
good
house.
with
How you
you?
doing, AkHi?
What's going on, Aki? Hey, I wanted to call because I know they're talking about maybe Spence fighting Pacquiao, and I think definitely Spence can get with Pacquiao. I just don't like the fact that he's going to fight after this accident. I kind of wanted him to get one fight in, even if it's versus say Garcia, and I say Garcia is a bust because I know Garcia can fight.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd rather see him fight a Garcia or someone before Pacquiao's a monster. And I don't know why I keep going on YouTube and people keep thinking that Earl's going to come in and smash Pacquiao. He's not going to do that. If Mayweather came back, no one's smashing those two dudes right now. Unfortunately, because I'm a big Earl Spence fan. But I do think Earl can get with him. I just don't think I don't think for the first fight, him coming back from this injury, I wouldn't want to see him fight this monster right now. I'd say give him at least until probably the fall, at least the fall, or maybe even the spring. But other than that, man, one reason why I've been calling, man, I can't. I look at these other sites, man. You know, I mess with Dante, I mess with Box Eagle, obviously I mess with
Shout out.
There's these other cats on here, man. I don't want to. I ain't gonna clown them, but it's like you can't ever you can beat them, but it's like these Canelo dudes, man. It's like you can't fight Canelo because you're not worth it. Who has your favorite fighter fight? Canelo can do this. Canelo can pick who he wants to choose. I'm like this, bro. This man already had chosen 3 or 4 different fights. Rocky Fielding, 2 other busters. He skipped the whole 154. Didn't want to see both Charlo brothers. Didn't want to see J-Rock. Didn't want to see Hurd. They've all were champions when he was hitting that 154. He didn't want to see none of them. He skips them, fights a nobody, then fights Gennady as if God. And we all know Gennady is a great white hope. They want to make him more than what he is.
Preach.
I'm just being honest.
This some of your fam that called in.
I want to see different nationalities winning because they're always losing. But you want to see a mixed group of people fight. I get that, but they're trying to make certain fighters God's gift of the world, bro, and it's getting to a point now.
So what I'm getting from you is you saying they trying to get these fighters on the hope list to hang in there with the brothers. Is that what you saying?
Aki, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I'm not trying to get racial, but I noticed that, like, whether everybody Canelo or even Gigi, certain promoters and certainly certain fighters, they don't want to fight. I'm gonna be honest. They don't want to fight the athletic brothers. I'm talking about dudes who can bounce, who can hit, who can move, who can crack. The athletic boxers. They don't want to mess with the athletic brothers. They don't want to. They don't want to mess with Andre, and they don't want to mess with Charlo. And I'm not going to try to say that Charlo and Andre can kill everybody because I know they can't. But I know they got hella skills. And you notice Andre's been Andre. I knew of Andre before I knew of Canelo. Andre was an up and coming guy. He was an Olympic guy. He was a beast. And you know he had that trouble with the contract, so he was out for a year. But I get it now. He goes to Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn gives him these potato peeler fights, all these bomb dudes, and he can't catch a fight on the zone trying to fight a Canelo who's on the zone too. So Canelo is just picking and choosing. It's getting to a point now where it's like he dictates what he wants to do, and the WBC is letting him do that. They never let the brothers do that, but they're letting him do that.
Yeah, I mean because it's run by Suleiman, who's his Mexican in the family. But I do want to say, because this is a debate show, this is a split decision, I do want to counter some of your points. So you said that Canelo skipped the whole 154 division.
Yeah, Charlo and Andre. And
but hold on, but kind of because I'm pretty sure he fought Austin Trout, who was undefeated. I'm pretty sure he fought Lara there. I'm pretty sure he fought James Kirkland. He fought He fought, but what I'm saying, at the time he only had 1 loss, and he was a monster.
To who?
And then he fought
he fought
the Mexican guy Pit Bull or what. And you can say that, but to say that he skipped 154, these were all supposed to be monsters. You got to think about, but all of those guys, they were like, those were monsters at 154. To say that he skipped that, I don't know how genuine that statement is.
Well, okay. Well, I'll say this. You're right. He did fight Trout. Trout was gonna be a guy for a minute. He was decent for a minute. I get that. He lost to Lara, and I get that too. A lot of people didn't want to fight Lara. So yeah,
he lost to
I
Lara.
agree with you on that.
But he didn't want to give Lara a rematch, and he fought Angulo after Angulo got tattooed by Lara, and he fought Kirkland after Kirkland got knocked out by a guy with 6 knockouts in the first round. You see what it looked like now? And Floyd Mayweather, to my brother that's calling through from 480, where you from again?
I'm from Phoenix.
Phoenix,
Arizona.
Like basically what my man's trying to say, Floyd Mayweather whipped almost every Mexican on their own independent day, and Canelo won't fight the brothers and get back for Mayweather whipping his people. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That's all I'm trying to say. But appreciate you for calling in. We got to keep the
from
show
Arizona,
rolling.
man. Hey, I appreciate it, and I do appreciate your insight.
Yeah.
Like I will say that you did have some facts sitting out there, and we might not agree on them 100%, but these are not just ad hominems, and those are some good
facts.
arguments.
At the end of the day, I appreciate you.
All right, appreciate it, man. Appreciate the call.
Next round. We're gonna hop into the the Canelo and the Oscar beef. Because since a lot of people want to talk about that now, of course, Canelo and Oscar
want to talk about Canelo.
They beefing. They obviously beefing. So hopefully I get the callers that's been calling in that's been throwing comments in the comment section. Man, listen, I'm tired of y'all in the comments. I want y'all to call in. You ain't showing your face. You ain't showing your image. So all you have to do is just speak. I know that ain't that hard to do. So that being said, let's talk about the business at hand. Canelo Alvarez had beef with Oscar De La Hoya. Now, first of all, let's lay it down before we answer any call when it comes to this.
Okay.
According to Canelo, Oscar is unloyal. According to Canelo, he think Oscar is unloyal because when DAZN signed Canelo and got him trapped under this app, and of course, he can't be promoted like he's supposed to be. You got Deontay Wilder showing commercial on the Super Bowl, getting 330 million views. That's why he the face of boxing. On the other hand, Canelo, he's stuck on the app. And he like, man, this dude tricked me. Yes, he getting guaranteed purses, but he heard that Golden Boy got 90 million for their brand and them bringing Canelo Alvarez to the network or the app. Of course, Golden Boy have Ryan Garcia, Virgil Ortiz, and many more, Saddam Ali, and all of that.
I mean, they don't have a lot now.
He think that's not worth 90 million. He thinks some of that money should belong to his promotion company. He shouldn't be spending his own money for his own promotional company. He should be using DAZN money. So he think basically Oscar tricked him. Now, on the other hand, Oscar been applying pressure slowly for Canelo to fight Charlo. We talked about this last show when even Bernard Hopkins said Andre's supposed to be fighting Canelo 2020. Guaranteed. And it's like, what? That's not what the network's saying. That's not what Canelo's saying. Canelo's saying he boring. What is you talking about Bernard Hopkins? So it seemed like they're on two different pages. Oscar De La Hoya said the same thing about the Andrade and Charlo. He said these fights will define his career and legacy. So did Chavez Sr., Barrera, Morales. Oscar said he will fly to Mexico City to speak to Canelo on his next upcoming fight. However, Canelo came out and stated, we only speaking through lawyers. He ain't coming to see me face to face. So what's your summary on what I just talked about? And what do you think about what Canelo had to say?
I mean,
I
think that Oscar has kind of proven to be not the most astute businessman. He's got some questionable practices. One is I'm a little, I don't want to say kind of confused, maybe misinformed, because I thought everything was hunky-dory in the sense that he got this man supposedly the biggest sports contract that's out there now. And if he is applying some pressure, I think that's good. I mean, this is a promoter. His job is, I have to be able to sell these fights in there, and then you're talking about fighting some guy named Murata that's in Japan or something like that. And if Oscar if he's looking within himself and saying, "Hey, I fought the best out there, even when I didn't have to," and I think that this is the way to build a legacy and really build up a superstar. Then if he wants you to fight Charlo or even like an Andre as part of your legacy, then I don't see anything wrong. But that's me as a fan. With Canelo right now thinks that he's bigger than his promotion. And that he is, so he thinks that he's bigger than the belts. And at this point, he thinks that he is the name.
He's not Ali.
He doesn't, but he thinks that way. I mean, he thinks that way.
He can think all he wants, but facts say otherwise. Facts say his numbers are going down on the zone. He no longer the face of boxing. His stardom is dying. I used to make videos about Canelo, get a lot of views. Now I make a video about Canelo, it's like nobody really cares because they tired of him avoiding. His fans can't even ride for him. He's making the nation look bad. Forget Canelo, Brian. He making Mexico look bad. JoJo out here representing more so than the damn Canelo. So what I'm saying is Oscar does what he preaches. And that's him fighting the best. Even when he was a fighter, he fought the best when he was the cash cow. He fought so many undefeated fighters. When welterweight was the hottest division, and just like it is today, he fought when fighters was undefeated. Flex, Trinidad.
Felix,
Felix,
Tito,
Trinidad, Tito. We talking about even Sweet Pea. May he rest in peace. And I could go on. And he fought Mayweather and Pacquiao toward the end of his career. So Oscar is a legend if we're talking about his boxing legacy.
No, he fought Ike Cortez when nobody wanted to mess with Ike Cortez.
So I believe he preaches what he does.
Yeah.
So he's telling Canelo, you're getting guaranteed purses. Why are you mad at me? Because the fans wanted to see you to fight Charlo and Andrade, and I keep telling the fans, we're going to give y'all the best fights, unlike Al-Heyman. Even though he capping on that, Al-Heyman is giving us the best fights. So people are applying pressure on Oscar, saying, listen, you keep complaining about Al when Al is doing a better job than you. How about make Canelo versus Charlo and Andrade and all those guys that define his legacy? He's getting pressure from Mexico City, from legendary fighters, and from the fans. And he's trying to apply pressure slowly. However, Canelo called witness protection on him. He called, a lawyer. Like, man, I ain't speaking to you if you're trying to persuade me to sign in this contract. You ain't gonna say the right words for me to sign this contract and fight Charlo and Andrade. And that's where I'm losing respect for Canelo because I didn't see that coming from him. I thought Canelo will take his time cherry picking and then he will fight a big name every now and then, like he did with Lara, like he did with Jacob. It's so far in between. It's like a decade in between. But it's like if you're gonna fight a good fighter every decade, then it is what it is. You're not a Mayweather, but you at least a Canelo. But okay. But now he don't even want to fight a good fighter every decade. He want to, come on, man. That's like you in your prime. If you're going to fight your best fighters, we're going to see the best Canelo, let's see it now. That's why the fans are fed up. That's why his stardom is dying. Because you could bring a strap and force him to fight these guys on the coincidental list, but he'd rather give up his strap. Your pride in Mexico City to request a French fries title. He paid the WBC French fries title. He paid for that title more than he paid Charlo in order to fight him last year. So it's like, man, Canelo going so far and beyond and getting stripped of titles, then fighting the guys he was supposed to. And that's why his brand is dying. And that's why I think the beef is on between them and it's going to continue on forever because Oscar, just like he complained about Ryan Garcia, and we saw them, they had their little beef. He said, Ryan Garcia, you got to do what Virgil Ortiz is doing. You're not fighting the best. And then Ryan came out and fought Duno and knocked him out. So he was like, you know what? See, if you keep doing that, you're going to be a superstar. Your Instagram followers going to be real hardcore boxing fans. It was a little harsh the route he went. Ryan Garcia wanted more bread and he got it. But at the end of the day, he fought the guy he was supposed to fight and knocked him out. So we'll see what Ryan does in the future. I think Ryan will live up to Oscar, not Canelo. Hopefully he does, but as far as Canelo's sake, he done ruined his image.
I don't.
He like basically he the cherry king when it comes to the sport of boxing. Not the face of boxing, the cherry king.
The cherry picking. So I think that you went a little bit overboard
with what? With what?
Just this one statement to say that his his brand is tarnished and all that. I wouldn't go that far. I still think that there's an argument that he is the face of boxing.
How? When Wilder is doing 330 million views on Super Bowl, he has this promotion.
Yeah, because it's
that's
Super
more
Bowl.
than I know, but that's more promotion than Canelo have ever gotten for the past. I don't know how long he been on the zone. So what I'm saying is Deontay Wilder steady, linearly on a linear state. He's going. Like his stardom is increasing. On the other hand, Canelo is the opposite way. If so, he on consistent base. Like he's not gaining any popularity because he's not facing the fighters he's supposed to face. He avoiding the fights. He cherry picking, and he's stuck on the app and don't give interviews because, of course, just like you said, journalism. If you ask Canelo to fight Charlo and stuff, he probably kick you out.
Yeah, but hold on. But one thing we want to say, I thought we did. Oh no! So that was for the Android, because I would say I thought somebody sent Charlo a contract that he did not sign, but I think that he'll fight Android and Charlo in 2021.
Man, you could think all day, but it don't look like it's happening because he out here beefing with Oscar. If he's gonna fight him, he would have fought him in 2020. That's a perfect year. You've been avoiding two fighters for the past 2 decades, and it's 2020. Two. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's your decade right now to prove yourself and prove all your doubters, and you choose to do otherwise. So he making Canelo fans look bad. He didn't make Canelo fans dig their own grave. They don't have no more excuses to make, so they stop coming. I'm like, man, Canelo fans, I didn't destroy
I don't see where you see where
every
they
Canelo
stop
fan.
coming.
I didn't knock out every Canelo fan, man. I'm talking about cold, like Deontay Wilder. I slept them.
Well, so
like,
one thing I want to say is that I'm not. I think I like to give an imposing view, but let's be real. Like Andrade fought on a Wednesday on his last fight.
And what Marat fought on? What day did he fight on?
I
what
mean,
Rocky Fielding day? What day he fought on? He ain't fighting. Okay, I see what you're saying. If you're gonna complain about who Andrade is fighting, but we talked about Gary Russell earlier. You gotta stay active when these guys are avoiding you. So Andrade is doing what he's supposed to do in order to get these fights whenever Canelo is ready, so he won't be rusty. Because Canelo keep blaming it on this and that. But it's really, he don't want to get schooled by these young guns. He rather focus on the fighters that's coming off bad performances like Saunders and them. So my point is, at the end of the day, Canelo is not avoiding Andrade to fight better competition than Andrade. He avoiding Andrade to fight worse competition than Andrade. So that's the bad part. But let me call my man real quick. Okay. I got a lot of people on the phone.
And it looks like, all right, we're about at 2 hours.
Are we about at that mark? So this is about to be our last topic. Hold on, let me call. You could mention some of the comments, what they're saying.
So
I know it ain't no Canelo fans over there.
Hemingway said that there was never a contract; it was just an offer. Which we can kind of split hairs over that.
When they talking about what?
Regarding Charlo, that there was never an official contract that was sent to Charlo, but there was an offer.
It's just BS, and they don't want no smoke with no Charlo, with no line only. They don't want none of the real smoke.
So Real Rap says Clenbuterol, Canelo tainted meat. His fans will protect him at all costs.
Yeah, so I got a list of fans that's calling in. I asked them the topic, so I make sure I call them back.
All right.
This is a Canelo fan. He said he want to talk about a Canelo subject. I'm calling back. 312. Pick up the phone. Because we on the topic. If we going to talk about it, let's talk about it now. Don't avoid the smoke, my brother. I ain't going to hurt you. I'm just going to hurt your feelings telling the truth. I know not everybody want to hear the truth, but I'm just telling it like it is. Canelo need to do more, and he need to do better if he know better. My man ain't picking up, man, so.
Hey, what's going on? It's Cisco from the Twin City. How y'all doing?
How you doing,
AkHi? Cisco?
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So I was just calling in to chime in on the Canelo Andrade Charlo business.
Give us some insight.
The way I feel about it, I'm a Canelo fan, right? So for me, it's almost like when you're a fan of a sports team, sometimes when they make decisions and you're upset because they made that decision, it doesn't change whether you're a fan or not. You're just pissed, right? Like, I don't want him to fight Marat. You know what I mean? No, I don't think any Canelo fan wants him to go and do something like that.
I think they want to, because they're not talking about, like, they're not saying who Marat is fighting.
I mean,
nobody is saying who Marat is fighting.
Well, he's a Canelo fan.
I feel like
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like it's a whole promoter, the whole promotion thing, I feel like it's just a game between the promoters, and just like BJS just called them out, for all they're doing is looking for the cheapest fight. You know what I mean? Because clearly people are pricing themselves left and right. What are they looking for? What is the magic number for them? Because clearly it has to do with money, I feel, more than anything else, and they're trying to get a cheap fight.
And who are you talking about is trying to get a cheap fight? Who's that?
Billy Joe Saunders.
No, Billy Saunders won the Canelo.
What he's saying is that he is like looking at.
I'm just saying that he just said it. Like he sent out a tweet, saying that that's what they're looking for. That's what he believes is going on.
Yeah, you talking about Canelo? They're looking for the cheapest fight. Okay, I see what you're saying. But see, that's the funny part. Canelo, he get a guaranteed purse anyways, though. Like so, Canelo from his promoters want him to fight Charlo and Andre. Oscar and Bernard Hopkins, they want to get that off their shoulder because every time they doing interviews, that's what they getting asked. However, Canelo, the fighter, because supposedly, AKA he the boss, he ain't making the boss moves that he's supposed to be, because fighting Murat is not the decision to go. And I know you saying you a Canelo fan, but you don't want to see that fight. But a lot of Canelo fans ain't complaining about the Murat fight. I didn't have not even one fan coming at me telling me, man, Murat.
They haven't made the fight.
But I'm saying they was like, oh, I didn't have nobody come at me saying who Murat fought. Every time Charlo called him out, they said who Charlo fought and who Andre fought. But when Murat come through, nobody came at me talking about who Murat fought. So we already know it ain't about who you fought.
I honestly feel like it's all a smokescreen. It's gonna be Caleb Smith in the end. I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. Even though I think that's crazy because he's 6'3", with
didn't he rob his last opponent though?
Yeah, and the last opponent was small, but those Super 8 tournament champions, they went through the grind. I think all divisions should have that tournament, to be honest. Yeah. It would be fair. Everybody's in it. You're going to know who's at the top, and nobody's going to bitch.
I agree, and that's what we're missing in the sport of boxing. But, I mean, Canelo won't enter in the tournament the way he moving, because if there's a tournament, you're forced to fight a certain fighter, I don't see him fighting anybody or joining the tournament, because we see him negotiating with Smith, like you said, you think that's going to be his next opponent, but you got to keep in mind that Smith is coming off a bad performance. Another guy he negotiating with, Billy Saunders, he coming off a bad performance. So like I said, the blueprint is looking like you got to come off a bad performance for Canelo to consider you as a next likely opponent. You know what I mean? So that's the issue I have with Canelo when he's supposed to be fighting guys coming off their biggest win since he claimed he pound for pound #1. But I appreciate you for calling in, AkHi. Any last thoughts you want to get out the way? You could go ahead
and here was my only thing. Like for me, when it comes to Andrade and Charlo, I believe that they missed their opportunities earlier on in their career. First for Andrade, he could hold on. Hear me out. When he had a shot at Jermell, not just once, there was a money problem. Okay, but the second time, he was the mandatory after he beat Willie Nelson to Jermell Charlo's WBC belt. He decided not to fight him, and he went after Lara and priced himself out of a fight with Lara. If he would have fought those two fights right there.
Yeah, I see. I remember that's what I told Professor Name at one point when we were debating about Charlo and Andrade. Yeah, Andrade did turn down an offer from Charlo, but Jermell Charlo for $300,000, where he felt like, oh man, it wasn't worth it. Me going to Showtime, me getting robbed, this and that. However, I get where you're coming from. But if we recall correctly, Andrade also held the WBO title. He was the champion. And as soon as he vacated that strap, guess who fought for it? Canelo Alvarez against Smith. So it's not a coincidence. So the train haven't left because they both still hold straps at 160. Both Andrade and Charlo. They both hold straps, and Canelo, according to him, he wants to be undisputed. So if you want to make your dream come true, fight these guys and get out the way. But he'd rather fight a Smith, a Billy Saunders.
I do actually want Canelo to fight these guys just to end it all, because I honestly feel like he is better than them. You have seen him in the ring with a Jacob. If you honestly think, I think Jacobs is better, if not just as good as Charlo and Andrade. He's proven it in the ring, even when he fought Triple G.
One thing for sure, though. Well, one thing for sure, though. Jacob, that's my guy, but he is not undefeated. Jacob lost before, and him versus Canelo that's Canelo best win at 160. However, the best dogs at 160, we all know who they are. That's Andrade and Charlo. So we could say, Jacob, they undefeated. They got an O, and nobody have solved the puzzle. We already seen Jacob lose before. We never seen Andrade even come close to losing. Yeah, I would love to see those fights. So hopefully Canelo make our dream come true. Appreciate it. Great talking to you. AkHi, man, you're an intelligent boxing fan. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, you guys. Have a good one.
He had good points, but like I said, at the end of the day, he still want to see the fight. You know what I mean? We all want to see the fight. So let me go ahead and
I don't think that the train has left with those fighters.
Because they still have the straps. Like, how can you say the train is left when they at the best now? Like, Andrade and Charlo, they are at their best now. Prime-wise, mental-wise, you name it. You know what I mean? So I got my man on the phone, 312. How you doing, AkHi? Where you calling from and who this is?
I'm calling from Chicago. This is Lalo.
Chi-Town, what's good with you?
How you doing, AkHi?
Doing all right. So I'm not sure what the current topic is, but you're
Canelo.
Oh, you're talking Canelo right now?
Yeah, Canelo and Andrade and Charlo and Oscar beef.
All right. Well, I haven't been keeping up on the beef. I know they're not on talking terms right now. I did want to emphasize that I'm an objective boxing fan, so I don't think that Canelo is the, number one or even number two, like pound for pound boxer, but I do think he's certainly a quality fighter, and I don't think you give him the credit he deserves.
Oh, okay.
For example, I remember on your last show, you were saying, who has he fought? I mean, he's fought Danny Jacobs, Miguel Cotto.
Miguel Cotto.
He fought Mayweather, of course, he lost. He's also fought Gennady Golovkin on 2 occasions. I realized that, there is some validity to your argument.
Yeah, so basically,
wait. What?
Yeah, go ahead.
I understand the argument that he's never dominated any of the top quality opponents. That's a very valid argument, but he is beating top quality opponents. So I think you're being a little too biased as far as I'm concerned.
So I don't think that's called bias. I think that's called me doing my job. You just don't like the fact that I'm calling out Canelo for the maneuvering he doing. So let's keep it a buck. You said that he not pound for pound number one. So we both agree on that. You know what I'm saying? I got Terrence Crawford.
We agree on that.
We agree on that.
Put him
and I have Canelo as a pound for pound fighter. I think top 5. If it wasn't for that computer roll situation, if not number 6, that's as far as I'm pushing. Now I'm not saying he below that. So like I said, Canelo is up there. I'm giving him his props. So you got to keep in mind, I'm a reporter / analyst / expert. So I'm doing my job. A lot of people come at me telling me that Canelo is pound for pound number 1. So my point to support that he's not. So that's what I'm saying. My point to support that he's not pound for pound number 1 is that how can you claim you pound for pound number 1 when you haven't beat the best guys at your division that supposedly are the best, like Andrade and Charlo. So once he do fight those guys,
we're on the same page.
What I'm saying.
Hold on 1 second. Let me get into where
Let me respond to him.
You just responded to him.
I haven't finished. So timing is everything when it comes to a lot of these topics. Like Charlo and Andrade, them names will haunt Canelo for the rest of his career, because just like Ali, Frazier name always attached to him because they had the rivalry and all of that. Just like Pacquiao and Floyd. I could go on and name you many fighters. So Canelo, on one hand, he was in a division where Andrade and Charlo were for years. So, like, you named a lot of good names, but he fought, like, Kovalev, for example, at a time where it was like, you had better options.
He fought Trout.
He had better options. He fought a lot of fighters. Even when he fought Cotto, as you mentioned, remember when he fought Cotto?
2015.
Right after that, he vacated the strap and gave it to Gennady Golovkin. Because at the time, Gennady Golovkin was looking like the Crusher. And he waited to Gennady Golovkin look kind of semi-bad against Jacob, where I thought Jacob beat him. And Kell Brook, moving up 2-weight division, kind of exposed him. And then he fought him. So Canelo, on timing he waits till the fighter is exposed, just like Billy Joe Saunders, who he claimed that he's coming out bad. You know, he claimed he a good fighter now. But before, he claimed he was, boring because he move around. But as soon as he come off a bad performance, now he a good fighter because he sees that he's beatable. So my point that I'm trying to get across is that I'm calling out Canelo for the obvious things that I'm seeing that people trying to ignore. And that's the timing of him making his move. So if he fight Andrade and Charlo after they come off bad performances, I would still love to see the fight, but it's still bad luck because, like, man, you serious? You only fight fighters coming off their worstest performances? But yeah,
he fought Jacobs. I don't remember
Jacob. With every Jacob, it was one round separating.
He fought Trout when he was undefeated, and then I don't think Lara was coming off a bad performance.
And Gulo dropping him twice?
But he stopped him.
I agree with you.
Okay, but Angulo hurt him twice, though. Hold on. I'm talking to Professor real quick. So Angulo dropped him twice, and he looked bad, but I still gave him credit for fighting Lara, but Lara had to do the most and disrespect him in order to get the fight. Like, let's face it. So he didn't give Lara a rematch.
These are all top. So these are at least, like, there's at least six people.
Name me these fighters. Name me one by one. Like, you said six fighters?
You said no quality opponents in your last live stream. Now, I understand we all get animated. I understand a lot of these fanboys are very annoying, but you said no quality.
No quality lately. I probably didn't say it, but lately. I say lately, but go ahead.
Let me be objective, because I'm not a Canelo fanboy. I'm not, okay?
Oh, you sound like it, brother. You sound like it, brother. You sound like a hardcore, but go ahead.
I'm a Latino and I'm from Chicago, but I'm not a fanboy of Canelo's. Okay, so Errol Spence. I think he is number 2 in the welterweight division. After Terence Crawford, I understand he's fought more top-quality opponents at welterweight than Terence Crawford, but I think Terence Crawford is a more complete fighter. I think if they both fight, I think Terence Crawford will win in a very close competitive match. But let's look at Errol Spence. Now, Errol Spence beat Kell Brook. That was a legitimate win, but that was after Kell Brook was coming off a loss to Gennady Golovkin, in which he jumped 2 weight divisions
and exposed Gennady Golovkin.
His cheekbone, had to come down back to welterweight. Okay, had trouble making the weight, and Errol Spence legitimately beat him. However, that was not the same Kell Brook before he moved up in weight and fought Triple G. I
think we can acknowledge that.
Errol Spence isn't a great. Wait. Does that mean Errol Spence isn't a great fighter? No, of course not. He's a great fighter. Now, he fought Mikey Garcia. That was a great win. I was very impressed because everybody was expecting him to knock out Mikey Garcia. Nobody gave him any props for his boxing skills. He was quite a technician in that bout. I was impressed, controlling him, keeping that range with the jab. Very impressed with Errol Spence. But he didn't knock him out, and he was jumping up 2 weight classes, but I'm not going to hold that against him. Just saying. And then we saw Sean Porter. That was a tough, competitive match, and nobody wanted to give Sean Porter any credit. People were saying he had no chance, he can't win, he's a brawler, and that was a tough, competitive match that some people had Sean Porter winning.
So
now, I had Errol Spence up by 2 rounds. So what's your point? That was a very, very close, competitive match. And I don't think it was simply because Porter has an awkward style. I think it's because people underestimate Porter's boxing skill. I was impressed with his head movement. I was impressed with his general foot movement. I think he did very good. Now, my point being, let's not be biased. Look at Errol Spence. He's great, but he's had some tough fights that he hasn't dominated.
Let me respond to that, though. Answer this question for me. So, name me a fighter Errol Spence avoided in between. Because I could name you plenty Canelo avoided. So, name me a fighter Errol Spence avoided.
That's beyond the point.
So now that is the point. That's the main point. If you claim you are the best, like Canelo does, he claimed he pound for pound number 1. He has to fight the best. Let's stop maneuvering around it. And he not fighting Andrade. He not fighting Charlo. He not fighting the best competition. He stays fighting fighters coming off bad performances. Errol Spence is calling he wants all the smoke, even coming off a car crash. Meanwhile, Canelo Alvarez is calling his lawyer because Oscar De La Hoya is pressuring him to fight some tough fights. So let's call it what it is. I get where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from. Canelo is a good fighter. I never said that.
That's where I'm coming from. I am not coming in to defend to defend Canelo. I'm just saying you said no quality opponents. I
said lately his resume is made up. So when
it's made up.
Yeah, it's made up because you can see him maneuvering around and stuff like that. So like I said,
no, really quickly.
Yeah, go ahead. We short on time. Go ahead. We short on time.
Now there's this other podcast I think is very biased. You may or may not know the name of it. It's called the International Boxing Fan Podcast. That's what it's called.
I don't know. Yeah, I
don't
know.
Okay, well, they absolutely hate Dante's Boxing Nation and your stuff.
Oh, that's
okay,
the goal. They hate the truth. They hate the truth.
Yeah, okay. Well, here's the thing. He recently made the argument that Canelo would beat David Benavidez. I think that's complete bullshit. I think David Benavidez would stop Canelo, would knock him out. I think his speed, power, and size are too much for Canelo, and Canelo would not be able to defeat him. That's my position, though. You may disagree.
Yeah, so what's your point? Yeah.
I think he just wanted to state that.
I'm not some Canelo fanboy.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I'm telling you. When I make a Canelo video, they make he the face of boxing. He pound for pound number 1. 1,000 comments, but they don't want to acknowledge that he ain't fighting the best. He a good fighter. I got him on my pound for pound list. You ain't just gonna be on my pound for pound list if you can't fight. But you ain't number 1. You ain't a fighter that's living up to Mexico City fighting the best. Because you see him being strategic. You see him maneuvering around. Even a blind man could see this coming. Stevie Wonder don't have to wonder what Canelo's doing. He calling lawyers in order to avoid Charlo and Andre. But a great talking with you, brother.
We do.
We should call next time on the early time because we hitting the 2-hour mark.
Okay.
We are.
Yeah,
and then,
so,
but I also want to make one comment. Hold on one second. So I actually want to give a shout out to Joshua Simpson.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a point that people don't acknowledge, and what it says that nobody fights only the best. And that's true, right? So if you line them up, Ali had some throwaway fights because Ali went on a European tour where he was just fighting these guys like clean them out, but it was a way for him to basically hiding his profile. But he wasn't fighting just the best.
You fight the best available. That's the main thing. Errol Spence is doing it. Terrence Crawford is doing it even on his side as much as he can. He's in the wrong promotion, but it is what it is. If Terrence could get Errol Spence fight today, if Errol Spence could get a fight today, he will fight him today. If Terrence Crawford could get
fighting only the best.
That's my point. He's fighting the best fighters available. Canelo could fight the best fighters available and become a pound for pound number 1 and run the sport. But he chooses not to run the sport by cherry picking, and that's the point that I keep making, that Canelo making his brand look bad by not fighting the best. That's why he cannot be considered pound for pound number 1. If you say he a top 10 pound for pound fighter, absolutely. Even with a computer or BS.
Who's saying that? You know what I'm saying? Nobody on this channel
what
has
I meant
ever
to say
put
is that Canelo haven't fought a legit fighter lately that's a threat. That's a 50-50 fight. That's going to have me on TV watching. You know your man London. He is the biggest Canelo fan. He didn't even show up for Kovalev fight. Why? Because at the end of the day, it was you could see like the devil in the detail. Kovalev came out saying, if you thought I could win that fight, you don't know ish about boxing. So I appreciate talking to you, my man, though. You should definitely call in next time, and we're going to talk more. But that being said, I'm going to have to let my AkHi go. I'm sorry for all the people that we didn't get to, like Real Rap and everybody. Like I said, we short on time. Please comment below who you thought won the debate. Me, Professor Nim, the caller, because I'm undefeated. I'm what Canelo wanna be. It's pound for pound number 1 on split decision when it comes to debate. That being said, I appreciate all my AkHis. We're gonna put the guns down and the gloves up. Shout out to Rig India for winning by split decision, becoming a 2-time world champion at 2 different weight divisions. The Boogeyman. Shout out to Professor Nim.
3K, baby.
And like I said, everybody in the chat, subscribe below if you're trying to get smarter by the minute. If you're trying to get dumber by the second, don't. And listen to these casual fans, or AKA decafs, dumbass casual fans, because the casual fan ain't no disrespect. If you're a casual fan and you want to be a hardcore, all you have to do is attend the AkHi University every Sunday live on Split Decision. And hopefully one day y'all will graduate from the AkHi University. And just like Dante always say, man, we speak the truth and nothing but the truth. We offer the book of the truth on Split Decision. So if you hate to hear the truth, man, you're going to hurt your feelings listening to us, and your eardrum might bust. So like I said, man, I appreciate every single one of my AkHis. Take us out, Professor Nim, while I keep it rolling.